the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
Took us down, we fell. With the great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still.
Didn't I tell you all?
To a land where no mankind dwelt.
Here we go.
Went,
come on.
the 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, we be.
Hit the like button. Come on in.
We from Puerto Rico, and valley from the arms of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. From Panama, get the North American Indian.
Come on in. Hey, we got a broadcast for you this evening.
The highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. Together our wives and children then sold us.
They then sold us. Come on.
In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer in Colombia. Oh. Reuben from Australia. Issachar, the Mexicans. A highest gathering in Israel.
Come on in. Gathering Israel throughout the chaos. Through the chaos, brothers and sisters, He's gathering the children of Israel. Let's go. Come on, hit the like button.
Asha in Colombia, Ruben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans.
That's who we be.
Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans,
Yeah.
from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel.
Come on in.
From Panama, Cat, the North American Indians, Simeon,
Come on in.
the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel.
That's right, brothers and sisters. The Most High is gathering Israel. I'm Elder Ricard Shaw of the Gathered of Christ Church here with Elder Lawyer, here to present with our weekly podcast. That's right, our weekly broadcast that's done every Wednesday around this time, okay? First and foremost, all praises be to the Most High God of Israel. We thank him for another day, giving us breath, right? That's right, giving us life, and above all, the faith of Christ that gets us through, okay? And it's through this knowledge the Most High have given us understanding of how to navigate through troubled times. And we thank you all for being present. And again, hit the like button as you all file in. Do we have a broadcast for you, brothers and sisters, this evening before opening up the phone calls? Thank you. Before we go in, let me make sure I let you all know that we're going into, I believe it's week 6 or week 7, Elder Lawyer. Man, we're flying, ain't we?
Yes, sir. Week number 6.
Week number 6. That's right. Week 6 of your Hebrew and Bible Academy. Time is flying. And yes, this week we're going into what we would call Men Week. The Man's Week, okay? We're going into the true purpose of man, all right? According to God, right? Setting that foundation when it comes to purpose, because I believe we perpetually go into generational curses by not setting our platform right or our foundation right according to purpose, according to God. What did he put us here for? And there's ages for this, okay? When it comes to when the son is born, okay? What is his commitment to the Most High that's made through the parents when it comes to that child? Is there an oath made between that child and God? And how do we sustain that until that child come of age? What happens when that son becomes 12? Okay, you realize that particular commitment is reinstilled in that child to understand its purpose. Okay, and then on and on and on and on, whether it be in your 20s up until 40, 60, we're going to break it down from birth to grave, the true purpose of man according to God. Wisdom scriptures, you name it, we're going into it for the brethren. Because reality is, and I know it's hard for us to accept this, folks, and I'm going to touch on this more so this coming Sunday. It's hard for us to focus on the fact that the only thing that our people are good for within this world right now, by the powers, through the powers that be, the only thing we're good for is the purpose or the reason they brought us over. They don't see us no different than that. And this is what got us off God's purpose, which was the curse. But hopefully this coming Sunday, we can reset this, right? To break the curse. Okay? And again, a lot of us think back and think, well, okay, it may be too late for us. Okay? My life has been cast. This is the life that I've been dealt. No. That's not true. Christ ran into the disciples, when they were aged adults, already with their own purpose. He ran into Paul, and Paul was actually against the work of the Almighty, fighting, killing, and imprisoning Israelites when the Most High came to him through Christ to bring him back under his true purpose. So I'm going to talk about that, okay? And you have to realize we're going to use Jacob as an example. our forefathers as an example of how they got on code with God first, and then everything else fell in place. Keep in mind, brothers, we were brought here to work. We were brought here to work, and we were brought here to breed. And I don't care how they try to put lipstick on this pig to try to make it seem as if this is all good, right? At the end of the day, nothing has ever changed since the time our people came in on the boats. As long as we breed for them workers, that's all they need. Through their social program, and they can actually build a slave into becoming a perpetual what? You got it. Satisfied slave. Women were brought here. Our sisters were brought here to breed. We were brought here to breed, and we were brought, sisters, and we were brought here to hold it down, hold the status quo down for the plantation owner. That's what you was brought here for. I don't care how much they try to dress it up or how they try to corporatize it to make it look all clean and good in the corporate offices and all that. But at the end of the day, when you look back at history, nothing has truly changed. Our women was always promoted to be what they were brought over here for. Okay? And the reality is, Massa only seen our women as someone to bed and to help them keep the status quo in place. And it's upon us to break that curse. It's upon us to not become or stay what they have created. So this week is going to be Men Week, the Man's Week, and next week will be the Sisters Week, where we're going into curse changing the trajectory. This is what they brought us over here for. You decide if that's good enough for you. We're not here to judge your path. Okay? If that's the choice you make and want to live within the spirit that this cursed spirit they brought us up under, then that's your choice. But what we're going to do is show what is the purpose of a woman week 7. And we're going to use the Holy Spirit as an example, showing what? Full wisdom scriptures on how to get through life, how to understand what? Even though some of us are late to the game. We found out late, or whatever the case is. There's still something we can do for the next generation, starting with those in our homes. Okay? Starting with those in our homes, we break the curse. We flip the roles. We focus more so on go-getting, goal-oriented boys. And we flip that to where we raise submissive. Listen, submissive, agreeable, loving, chaste, pure daughters. Okay? So we're going to be talking about that. The man, guess what? When we go into the men, we're not even going to be focusing on the women this week. But I'm sure since we got brothers and sisters in the lesson, a lot sisters going to be able to take from us just directing this class this coming Sunday on men. And the same way, we're not focusing on the negative. We building platform. Here's the foundation. This is what God intended. There's not Elder Ricard. There's not the Gathering of Christ Church. You want to know what your purpose is according to God? Here it is. Male and or female. And we're setting the record straight. The record straight is that's what? That's right. The patriarchy starts with God. We're killing this nonsense about the Most High God being a woman and all this nonsense they teaching all over the earth. Okay? Everything came out of what? The masculine. All we see, even the Holy Spirit, which is the feminine nature of the Most High, that he pulled out of himself, which is wisdom from the beginning. Okay? So again, we're dispelling all these myths about this ridiculousness when it comes to women being God and all this nonsense. Okay? The bottom line in the book of Romans, it's written. It's stated in the book of Romans. Okay? That the things that are made are clearly seen. The invisible things are clearly seen by that which is made, so that we are without excuse. So the things that are made, how things are created in this earth, male and female, bringing forth life, is how the spiritual world began with the masculine, God himself. So we dispelling all this madness. We setting it back in order. Think of this. It's the male who determine the child, its genealogy, its name, and even the child's sex. Okay? A daughter is not born without an X chromosome that comes from the man. Okay? A man is Y chromosome. So even the determination of male or female, it all comes through the man. The mother is the nurturer. She brings forth the child. She's the first teacher of tradition. So it's time for us to get this back on code, because it has gone too far to a degree where the Most High will soon bring judgment. So I digress. If you're interested in this lesson, brothers, I'm going to tell you, come in if it's nothing for just this week to obtain this particular wisdom. It's going to change your life. If you're chasing money, if you're chasing women, if you are confused concerning life and all this, and then you're running around depressed because your life isn't what you thought it was going to be, and all these others. Folks, let me tell you, the wisdom of the Most High is the foundation. It gives you a clear head where anything you want to obtain is easily obtainable. It's easily obtained because what? Our focus wasn't right. We were brought here to be slaves and the focus on slaving. Okay? Bringing forth more slaves so that they can mess up for the next generation. This is what we were brought here for. And the Bible is here to break the curse. It was in the Bible the whole time. So brothers, if you sitting there talking about, man, my life, man, my job, I don't got a job, all of that, your perspective is askew. Your total perspective has been clouded. If you on code with the Most High and have the wisdom of Solomon, the last thing you're thinking about is, where's my finances? If you got the wisdom of the Most High and prioritize, there's no other way you can go but up. Okay? That's the only place you can go. So we're going to talk about that this Sunday. If you're interested, go to historytimes.org. All right, let me jump right in. Also, we have 2 Bibles that Lawyer and I will sign. Okay? Right here. And these are going to be gifts given out in the academy. Very nice Bible center column reference. The Bible in the Apocrypha. Right? The Bible in the Apocrypha, KJV. Red letter center column references. Very good. I paid for them myself. Myself and Lloyd are going to sign them. We'd like to thank our brothers and sisters for supporting the academy. And hopefully they're going to do this thing where this algorithm pulls a name. And through that, we're sending 3 of these. 2 this week and 1 in a couple of weeks. So thank you, brothers and sisters, for your support. And hopefully you can get 1 of these. All right. All right. Jumping right in. Shalom, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Shalom.
Okay, how you doing? Yeah, I'm going right in, Elder Lawyer. Of course, I never speak to you concerning the title sometimes. I like to allow the Holy Spirit to give me some insight to what we need to speak about. And sometimes it comes, like that, right? So,
Right.
Of course, it's here. And our lesson today, Elder Lawyer, our broadcast today, I've put it all together, okay? Organized political chaos. Organized political chaos exposed, okay? Now, the reason why I'm going into this, Elder Lawyer, if you will, okay? I know you heard about the so-called, the so-called protest fight where so-called Israelites were involved, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard about that.
You heard about that, right?
Right.
Now, before I go into what we've been speaking concerning this for a long time, let me play the video real quick so that the brothers and sisters who are coming in who didn't know about it, so they can get some insight to what's going on when it comes to some protests by Palestinians getting interrupted, or it led to it being misdirected into a battle between what they call black Israelites. All right? Okay. Fair use for brothers and sisters who didn't see this. All right. Okay. Now, Elder Lawyer, what was your thoughts when you first seen that? When you first seen it, initially, what was your thoughts? Just your opinion on what came to mind when you first seen that?
I think the obvious thing that comes to mind anytime you see something like this is on the surface level. You have what presumably is young brothers out there speaking in an event. Usually you see that take place where people are, I guess people call it, pulling up and being able to say that they are visible and present in times of these particular events taking place, prophesying during that time and these key events taking place or these marches taking place, just to say that they have a presence there, but not doing it in wisdom or not, thinking, what are the consequences that come of or may come from coming out there presenting. And obviously we only see a clip. We don't know what caused the exchange or what have you. But usually we know with Israel, there's a lot of inflammatory statements that are made, a lot of rah-rah that goes on, and then that can potentially lead into conflict. So again, that's just an assumption. Maybe something was said on the part of the brothers that were speaking in regards to the protesters, resulted in some chaos. And again, that's the first thing that usually comes to mind.
Okay.
Lack of wisdom.
Okay, lack of wisdom. And the other thing is the fact that, I've been a part of a few melees in my time on the streets. And, and all in all, sometimes you go in with the thought of, even before a lesson or before you go out there to teach, what type of provocation I'm going to have, right? What type of scenario that I can provoke a crowd to actually take notice and to cut others with the word of God who had a hand in this conspiracy to kill our people. And we should let them know exactly what's going to happen to them, right? And keep in mind, that's Chicago. Now,
Right.
we've traveled all around the world through the Spirit of the Almighty in the early, 2010 all the way, set up churches all over the place. And of course, Arabs came up and all these others, but through all of our lessons, what we try to do is make sure we bring forth some type of levity concerning the gospel, right? So today I'm not going to do any comparison whatsoever, right? I'm just telling you that the overall objective should be to eventually win souls, even if it's through your enemy. Even if your enemy is opposing you, you should see where you can bring the gospel in that can actually have the Gentiles understand that there's something deeper than your so-called protest that's going on. Prophetically, this is what's happening, right? And I can give an example here. This is one that was just sent to me from Birmingham, the United Kingdom, England, right? And and what I notice is there's certain journalist type guys who are in the audience taping all provocations. Let me show you one more real quick, if you will. Now, this is UPK here in Birmingham, right? I need you to check this out here.
The Zionist Jews, you understand what I mean? I'm for the Palestinian cause, but these don't represent it. Them coming out, oh, we are Israelite, it's very insensitive, but there's no reason for the two groups to be clashing, you understand?
I agree.
Because they represent different people.
I agree.
These are talking about, they're not talking about the Jews, you know what about? They shouldn't have come out with the Israelis, maybe they should have come out with Hebrew. It's silly, do you understand what?
Do you not think it's silly? Sorry.
Yeah, because like...
Now, there's a white guy, a so-called white man, with a camera, filming both and giving and also getting perspective from protesters or those who support either side, right? All for what? Journalistic content. Now, this content will be used in the future. Okay? This content right here will be used in the future. And this is where I'm going at here, because I don't want to focus on that. Elder Lawyer, I don't really want to focus on that. This is where I'm going. See, if you get caught up in the melee, brothers and sisters, you begin to ignore the unseen hand. Who's the puppet master here? Who benefits from all this chaos? And hence the reason we go out and teach and speak. I know I'm an Israelite. I know the gospel of Christ. I understand how to deal with a provocation that brings to understanding when it comes to bringing out the word of God, right? I understand it. But I also understand how the enemy is trying to lure people in under their what? Under their political control to demonize and or destroy people. And that's what you're going to find out today. Hence the reason, folks, we have clear speaking rules when it comes to going out there. Knowing that part of that is what? They send provocateurs out there while you're speaking to actually lure you in to the satanic melee that was probably orchestrated. The more they get in, the better. So who's the puppet master? Well, I'm going to go there in a moment. There's a such thing as provocateurs. And this is why I tell brothers and sisters, be wise when you're out there speaking. You don't know who's trying to draw you into something because there's another narrative being written by the synagogue of Satan. The only thing they need you to do is to engage in to their organized chaos. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to break this down one step at a time. Christ stated, folks, he stated, I send you out as sheep among wolves. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Right? Every time there's a protest or something going on, folks, you have to realize there's a political scenario behind it. For example, sometimes these things happen being that a vote on Congress or a bill or something is up to be voted on that needs a what? That's right. That needs a protest to shine light on whatever they're about to pass in that particular city. So what I look at is the bills that are on the table, the laws that are on the table, to understand why some of these events are actually happening out of nowhere. What laws that will get changed that will indirectly affect our people. And I seen a pattern. I begin to see a pattern. Every time there's a so-called riot or something, there's some legislation getting shaped, coincidentally out of nowhere. For either side, be it funding by the government or whatever the case is, and all they need is a protest to drive the reason for what they're budgeting out of the treasury. I've noticed that. When some big event happened, I look at the laws on the book, what they're voting on next week. How did that vote just so, coincidentally come on the table? How would they have known that riot would have happened when that vote was put out there that they was going to vote on this a month prior? Right? So I start to examine these things and say, well, hold up. What's going on with these protests? Because the war in the Middle East and the wars are something else. I can actually give you scriptures on all of that. But this is something going on over in the Middle East, and they're marching in the United States. Right? And usually when people go out to protest for riots and all these others, folks, there's an incentive there that's usually not discussed amongst the citizens. They're not out there just to be rioting and protesting against injustice and all that. They're protesting because there may be some resources for whatever programs they're dealing with within the United States. Okay? They're protesting for funds in a lot of these cases because these are Palestinian Americans, and if they can go out and do what they got to do, now there's some votes on the books where these Palestinians get money from our tax, from our work, right? From your taxes, when you don't have nothing to do with what's going on over there. But maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse, but let's talk now. Let's go into it. Let's go into it, Elder Lawyer. Let's go in. So when you think about protests, Elder Lawyer, out of all people, Elder Lawyer, who made protesting a thing for the world? When you go into history, who made protesting a thing? Now, the right to protest is a part of our constitutional rights. But who came out of nowhere and changed the dynamic of what protest looks like? Huh?
That was something primarily done by our people during the civil rights movement.
Exactly. Because they didn't expect, don't forget, we became what you would call a dark horse. We came out of nowhere and totally changed the optics of what protests could be. Right? To the point where the whole world watched what was going on, because for the first time in history, you would have a protest that can shut down the most powerful country in the world, with them not being able to do a thing about it. See? Because this protest just wasn't led by just injustices or cop shootings and all these others. It seems as if Black Lives Matter and others just took a piece of what was going on with us there and made that a movement. Okay. Our protest was organically created out of a moral high ground. With what? That's right, with a religious foundation. Inherent rights under God to be treated as God's children, and it was led by those who believed in the Bible. And see, Martin Luther King, when you look back at it, back on this, was way more strategic and intelligent than most could understand, to a degree where sometimes he spoke in code. Now, mind you, his dream, self-admitted, became a nightmare. The Bible tell you about dreamers, but they rarely tell you that he regret joining in, folks, with that dream. But he was speaking in code to some degree, like, I've been to the mountaintop. I may not get there with you. Now, anyone who believed in the Bible or churchgoers during that time understood that the mountaintop is Mount Sinai. And that is the place, elder lawyer, the children of Israel received the law. I may not get there with you. See, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, right, who also had a high level of understanding of theology, biblical theology, was using that as an example that we can all relate to. Moses seen the promised land, but didn't cross over Jordan. See? I've seen the mountaintop. I may not get there with you. Folks, they were showing you something deeper than just a political protest. Martin Luther King was showing something way more greater. Right? And so through this, fair use, and we're going to go through this because I have a few scriptures I want to go through, but we're going to break down political chaos exposed. And this is why I tell brothers and sisters, do not get into any provocation. Let me go back. Let me go back real quick before I show the video on Martin Luther King first. Elder lawyer, I don't know if you remembered this. Okay, I don't know if you were there. You probably was there. I was teaching on 9th and Market, and a white guy came up in a truck right across. I was at the gallery, and he comes up in a truck in the middle of traffic and stopped. Were you there when that happened?
I remember that. Yep.
You remember that?
Yep.
Right? Now, in my camp, right, I make sure that everyone is looking behind me, in front of me. There's a crowd here, all in front while I'm teaching, right? But I also notice when I speak, when someone come in my peripheral to come around or whatever the case is, because not only am I a teacher, I was one time Israeli Church of UPK, Israeli School of UPK before the Church of UPK. Of course, I never was under that madness, IU, Israeli Church of God in Jesus Christ, because they had to, there's no way they would have convinced me that a brother that I knew that was carrying a camera a month ago or 2 months ago or a year ago was the God sent comforter, which is totally nonsense. And they got everyone out of the way who wouldn't have accepted that garbage, okay, prior to him proclaiming that madness. But, you know, he's already in the other world, so I don't have to sit there and deal on that. That thing have already been sealed, right? But all in all, I would look in my peripheral, and I seen this tall white guy, Elder Lawyer, as you remember. He came around to the left while I was speaking, and I was looking this way. And he came around, and he came straight to like where this camera is, and came in front of me. Do you remember that, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And one of the brothers was about to jump. And they stood in front of me while I was speaking. And he looked right at me, and he had this subtle smirk on his face. Right? And I told the brother in front of me, you was there, Elder Lawyer. I say, do not touch him. Stay right there. And he looked right in front of, he did just like this. What I did, Elder Lawyer, and I knew that he was something outside of what I believe is that he was a provocateur. Whether he could be with a government or whatever the case is. And why did I suspect this? Because we know on 8th, 9th, and Market, you can't drive a truck in the midst of traffic there during a high volume time where there's no room any place, okay, without the police coming to say, you know what, move your car. And he parked his car in the middle of traffic and stopped, got out and looked at me. It was a big truck, Elder Lawyer, if you can remember. So what I did, I told the brothers, I said, brothers, do not touch him. And he's sitting there looking at me like this, flexing his muscles, smiling like, yeah, I see you, what you want to do. So what I did was I was still speaking, paying attention, because there was people listening that I didn't want to lose with the word, right? But I turned around to my right, and I seen his truck right there. I seen a truck. His truck was sitting behind me, and I'm like, you know what? Something is up with this guy. Because I know loading our truck and taking it away, bringing our stuff out each day, we only got 5 to 10 minutes to actually do that before the cops will come up and say, you got to move your truck. Mm-hmm. And you remember that, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And this man was totally confident that nothing would happen to him or his vehicle. And I said, how long have this man been here? And I'm sitting here teaching, and he's still looking at me. Now, we had brothers that if I was, this was 2009 or 2009. If this would have been in UPK back when I was coming up, that would have been a fight. You couldn't get that close without something happening. But I learned. I said, you know what? They're going to switch this thing up, this jihad Arab thing, and make black people the new face of terrorism. Did not I say that? I told you this in 2008, 2009 in Path to the Mark, that this religious jihadi thing is a joke. I said, don't go for this left-right paradigm, this Muslim Christian against American paradigm, when I see Arabs everywhere unassailed, that they're letting into the country, giving them resources that belongs to our people. You can't tell me there's a problem with Arabs in America. I said, no. In Path to the Mark, I said, quote, unquote, they're now putting laws on the books in America for religious extremists. And the only religious extremists they really care about are the Israelites who are claiming to be the Jews the Bible speaks of. They've always negotiated in the Middle East with Arabs. That's not a problem for them. Why are they cutting laws in America against religious extremism when it happened over there? So indirectly, they can use the Middle Eastern wars to put laws on the books that now applies to American citizens. And the only extremists that they're worried about are those who are claiming to be Israelites. I said, our people, through the awakening, knowing we're Israel, will become the new face of terror. They just only need to use an Arab to sacrifice their image for a brief moment, only to switch that out with a black man in a turban now. And I said that in 2009. Here we are. Hence the reason why I told brothers at the speaking, we don't deal with any provocations. And when that white guy came up to me tall, man, he was ready to go. And the brother in front of him was ready to go at our camp. When he seen that I wasn't dealing with that provocation, he smiled and walked away and got back in his truck and rolled out. That thing could have easily gone bad quickly. And I tell people, and I tell the young brothers, because it's the young brothers that go out there and just want to get their sparring on to show that they know more than others and all that. I know that feeling as a young man. Folks, it looks all good, but a lot of that is posturing. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand at the end of the day, how many souls were won to Christ. And if that was the case, if that isn't the case that you won souls, what was the purpose?
Right.
Grandstanding. Trying to get some recognition. But folks, they are looking for the wrong recognition. It's not time for that anymore. We squeeze every little bit of what you would get out of that lemon when it comes to speaking outside and actually it yielding something. The 90s, the late 80s, the 90s, we squeeze everything out of that lemon. Okay? We're living in a time now which is entirely different. Okay? Most people aren't willing to put themselves out there on a camera like that, like they used to in the 90s. Why? Because now it can mean a loss of wages. It could mean them losing their job, public embarrassment. So it's an entirely different dynamic when we were coming out there, when people were just rushing to be seen on camera. Okay? An entirely different dynamic. And now all the brothers and brothers who have seen us teach in the past and all that, they're trying to get their little thing in, not realizing that if you're going to be out there, it comes with a responsibility. Right? What they're doing out there isn't the recognition they want. It's exactly what the puppet master has planned for them. And I'm going to show you this. Who's the puppet master? Well, in order for me to do this, let me go down the line first, starting with how it was in the beginning when protest actually meant something. Fair use.
I don't see the answer to our problem in riots.
He said, I don't see. This is when Martin Luther King started realizing that the synagogue of Satan was playing him. That the synagogue of Satan were looking to align themselves in the civil rights movement to only incentivize themselves politically. To try to claim, well, okay, we suffered not too long ago oppression too, and all this other. But guess what? Suppose your people in America had a hand in our oppression here. You can't feign victim over here in America because we did nothing to you. Okay? We're not the Nazis. We're not Eastern Germans. So the argument you have about oppression belongs over there. We're the oppressed over here. Martin Luther King started to realize something, Elder Lawyer, that others was trying to come in and now align themselves with our current oppression while absolving themselves of our past oppression. See? So Martin Luther King started to wise up. When they couldn't hijack it, when they couldn't actually hijack his protest, which was organic, moving our people with politically, with the whole world watching, they had to get rid of him. Listen to what he says here.
Problem in riots.
He says what?
I don't see the answer to our problem in riots.
We don't see the answer of our problems in riots. Why did he say this? Because riots can be utilized and hijacked by provocateurs. If you don't know who's in the riot or who's in the audience or who's in the movement, one person who's sent there as a provocateur can turn it totally left. See? You can be out there thinking you're out there to protest injustice against George Floyd, and there's not enough what? Not enough fire and destruction in our neighborhoods, and have some white guy from the suburbs with a mask on, justifiably so because there's some disease running around now. He can stand in the back of our people, a white guy or a white girl who's a provocateur, probably from another country, you don't know, and start throwing gasoline cocktails. And now the cops and the authorities, the government, have now the high ground to begin to shoot at us. So Martin Luther King started realizing, hold up, this riot thing ain't working.
To our problem in riots.
Come on.
I don't see the answer to our problem in riots.
I don't see the answer to our problems in riots. He started getting to the nitty gritty here, folks. Listen.
So my slogan is not burn, baby, burn. My slogan is build, baby, build. Organize, baby, organize. Learn, baby, learn so that you can earn, baby, earn.
Y'all see that, folks? Understand, initially I said, remember when I taught you all that I talked about the fact that the true reasons they brought us over. They only brought us over to breed more slaves. This is why they promote debauchery and all this, so that we can just have children that can be moved in the system to be utilized for the next generation of slaves. Okay? They didn't create this country, for a man like Martin Luther King and others to materialize out of oppression. No more rioting. Earn, baby, earn. Learn, baby, learn. Earn, baby, earn. Okay? His last words were, listen, nah. Y'all, guess what? You giving us the right to vote didn't cost America anything. And if anything, if what we've learned from what happened in World War I, World War II, what happened between the Nazis and the Jews and all that over in the Middle East, that there's money that comes to an oppressed people who are oppressed. Okay? When there's all this international money going to these people, that's giving us what? That's giving us the blueprint of what happens when people are oppressed. So giving us the right to vote didn't cost us anything. And that's what Martin Luther King started talking now. So if you want to hook arms with us and say we're oppressed brothers together, then guess what? Break our people off like your people were broke off. He started talking turkey.
That's my slogan.
He said, something ain't right. I said, oh.
Now look at what some of his last quotes were, brothers and sisters. Listen to this. You know, we struggled hard and long for the victories we have attained. Yet there's something that troubles me deeply. For all the civil rights and all the things we've done, I have come to believe that we are integrating into a burning house. We have no choice but to become firemen. He was warning. He was warning our people against the ills of integration. That they would use the civil rights to actually conspire under civil rights to destroy the same people who actually made the blueprint of how to protest effectively. He's like, listen, Martin Luther King wasn't about no integration. Because our people were suffering under all people in America. All people in America we were suffering under. Right? So the enemy started viewing this, Elder Lawyer, and say, well, hold up. How can we hijack this new way of protesting if he isn't going to allow us to benefit from it? Right? So that means any powerful people can feign victim and align themselves politically as victims under our civil rights movement only to take the money that was allotted for the struggles of our people. See? Now, fair use.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Now, Elder Lawyer, the content of our character thing sounds good. But this when the content of our character doesn't work. When you have a people constantly through media, the entertainment industry, incentivizing, that's right, incentivizing the subclass of our people. See, if we're going to be judged by the content of our character, then we must have what? Moral representation. Mm-hmm. The world must see us as a moral people. So the enemy says, okay, if we can't be judged by the color of our sin, but the content of our character, well, let's just make sure their character, the negative of their people, is promoted for their character on the world's platforms. See? The content of your character. Sexy Red. Birdman. Straight out of Compton. Blop, blop, blop. Shoot you and you drop, right?
Right.
So the enemy was hearing this and said, you know what? You shouldn't be judged by the color of your skin, but the content of your character. But we're going to use our machine to soil your character or promote the subclass of your people. We're not going to promote you in good character. Because what? Destruction comes after demonizations.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare.
He said that dream have turned into a nightmare. This is what they got him out there for, because the dream speech was the Trojan horse where all of these people would come in and steal from our civil rights under asylum seekers and others. See?
Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments. And I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must.
The optimism was superficial. We're not going to let you hang on our coattails, which means this is what Dr. Martin Luther King was talking about. You get payment from the countries that have oppressed you. If you're getting oppressed in your country, then you go to your government and the people that have oppressed you in your country for justice, as we are in this country. If there's a war over in Eastern Europe, you go build your museums and talk about all that, because oppression is bad, but you must make sure you remind the people who have oppressed you, never again. You can't put that on us. We didn't do that to you. So as long as Martin Luther King was living, he was going to keep the religious leaders as well as the political leaders on code to not be what? Circumvented by others by them playing the victim card and now coming in and taking what belongs to our people who have suffered. He was a problem. Because how can you get what? How can you get the political and the churches on board for a liberal movement? With what Martin Luther King is saying right here. Okay? You think that the Democrats would have been LGBTQ? My body, my choice? Where our daughters, our women are deleting more children than any other race within the United States or the world per se? You think that would have been happening under the politics that was framed under what Martin Luther King originally wanted for our people?
Must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go, and that we are involved in a war on Asian soil, which, if not checked and stopped, can poison the very soul of our nation. I'm not going to say that all of our problems will be solved if the war in Vietnam is ended, but I do say that the war makes it infinitely more difficult to deal with these problems.
So out of nowhere, a war pops up where our young, strong warrior class must go to war for the country. Leaving our people with what? Our women without their men. Our children without their fathers, only to die and get their legs and limbs blown off for a country that's suppressing us here. So they begin to double down on our people. Send them to war. Send them to war.
When a nation becomes obsessed with the guns of war, it loses its social perspective, and programs of social uplift suffer. This is just a fact of history, so that we do face many more difficulties as a result of the war. It's much more difficult to really arouse a conscience during a time of war. There is something about a war like this that makes people insensitive. It dulls the conscience. It strengthens the forces of reaction, and it brings into being bitterness and hatred and violence. I think the biggest problem now is that we got our gains over the last 12 years at bargain rate, so to speak. It didn't cost the nation anything. In fact, it helped the economic side of the nation to integrate lunch counters and public accommodations. It didn't cost the nation anything to get the right to vote established. And now we are confronting issues.
Y'all heard what he said, folks? They have these old people out there talking about you should vote because our people died and marched and all that. That ain't what Martin Luther King said. Martin Luther King said it didn't cost you anything to get our vote, to allow us to vote. It didn't cost us anything to integrate. Why? Really, it benefited the nations who have oppressed us or the other people, because now, instead of supporting our businesses only, we were taking all of our money to them. So how did integration help us? How did integration help us? Martin Luther King said this. And guess what? It was not too long after this that the Most High, he was murdered. He says, listen, voting didn't cost you anything. Y'all owe us.
That cannot be solved without costing the nation billions of dollars. Now, I think this is where we're getting our greatest resistance. They may
See,
put it.
the greatest resistance is actually giving our people what's owed for building the country. See, this is where he pivoted from. And under their social engineering through public schools, they started pushing in the 70s Martin Luther King's dream. Martin Luther King's dream. Because his dream was really hijacked, where others can come in under victimhood to destroy and take everything that belonged to God's people that built America, who built the country. So everything you're seeing today is a product, folks, of that dream Martin Luther King stated with his own mouth he regretted. And why am I going here? Because they would like us to remember Martin Luther King march on Washington, and the dream only is the only thing I was taught, in elementary school, Duckery Elementary, junior high school, and others. They want us to remember that Martin Luther King, folks. Think about that. Because that Martin Luther King, and let me tell you, and they want, why? Because we'll always resent him when it comes to the negatives that comes through integration. But it takes a what? It takes a contrite man with a soul, with a spirit and a conscience to admit when he's wrong. They want us to remember him so that we can now see him as some evil, some man who politically was utilized to destroy us. But I'm going to tell you, he meant right until he seen the enemy utilizing our civil rights for themselves. Yeah, we marched with you too. We were oppressed too. And this is when he started to say, nah, you can't hook arms with me, when your people was selling us on auction blocks. It was your people who purchased the ships and was cutting the deals during the transatlantic slave trade. So we're not going to let you hook arms with us with a current oppression to try to claim historically it's on a level to what your people did against us. He started setting the record straight. Now, I don't want to stick too much into this. Elder Lawyer, you with me? Okay, hold on. One moment. So let's go here a little bit here. Let's go here. Now, here we are. Here we are. It's in the news today. As of October 31st, pro-Palestine clash in Chicago. Everything is happening in Chicago. It's come around full circle. It's coming around full circle now. Asylum seekers, Chicago, New York. Asylum seekers, Chicago, New York. Israelites, New York, Chicago. Right? Pro-Palestine protesters clash in Chicago with radical black Israelites. And remember I said this years ago, and I had a lesson called Israelites Radicalized. I had a lesson called Israelites Radicalized, where I believed some of these yellow journalistic organizations have come together to now claim that Israelites in particular is some hate group synonymous with the KKK, which is utter garbage. We never hung people from trees. Israelites have never put a cross in front of a white man's house and hung their people or separated their children and put their like Malcolm X's father was killed with the KKK, drug him, beat him, and put him on train tracks. Israelites have never done this. But if we aren't careful, they was going to try to frame this as if Israelites are the next KKK. Right? So don't buy this. But guess what? They was able to draw them in. That's why I said, be careful when you out there on those streets, our brothers. They will draw you in. They've tried to draw me in to these conflicts. And I said, you know what? These conflicts are prophetic. Y'all go do what y'all got to do, but y'all shouldn't be marching over here. Because every time you march over here, there's some laws on the books that means your people are getting financed and you're from someplace else, while the people who built the country gets nothing. So you take your protest to where it's happening at. Okay? Why are you over here if your people fighting a war over there? What's wrong with this picture? Shouldn't you be in the war to protect and fight for your people? We're already under war. The nations, including the people on either side, have warred against us since the fall of Jerusalem. But now our brothers, who aren't using wisdom out there, have drawn themselves into the puppet master's hands. This is what they wanted. Right? Let me read this real quick. Let's read this real quick. Now that it comes around full circle. This is exactly what the enemy wanted. Look, they don't even talk about the KKK anymore. Okay? They done shifted exactly like I said they would. And then when you look at the people who created the KKK, that's interesting in of itself. Okay? Albert Pike, to some degree, that's out there allegedly that he had a hand in it. And when you look at his ethnicity, it makes you quite skeptical to what the KKK was. The KKK wasn't some guy just drinking a beer, you know, a redneck, you know, pulling lint out of his navel. Okay. The KKK back then in the 1800s and others, were what? Were government officials who were hiding themselves under hoods. A lot of them were the mayor, city council, a part of certain fraternities. Right? An extremist group that believes black Americans and other people of color are the real descendants of the ancient Israelites. Now, we don't believe this, okay? Now, I don't believe the theology of a lot of these other Israelites, like Christ wouldn't if he was here, right? But I do understand, and I don't believe, I know that black Americans in America are from the tribe of Judah. They are Israelites from the lost tribes of Israel, the North American Indians, the Puerto Ricans, the original Boricua Taínos. These are all Israelites. So we don't believe nothing. We know that we're the Israelites. Why I don't ascribe to their ideology? That part is true. Clash Saturday with the pro-Palestine protesters in Chicago while police attempted to calm the two groups. Now, the sometimes violent exchanges, and this is why I said do not deal in provocation when they bring these protests around. Because these protests are created, folks. They're created. They're made to provoke interaction where normal people would organically become a part of it so that they can say, well, this whole thing wasn't planned. Right? So they need what? The participation of those who weren't a part of the original organized march. Okay? The sometimes violent exchanges between pro-Palestine protesters and members of supporters of black Hebrew Israelites. I don't know why they keep saying black Hebrew Israelites. What is that? Anyway, followed a march around the Chicago Loop, organized by a group called the Chicago Coalition for Justice in Palestine. Now, all due respect, no one should deal with injustice. But I believe protests should happen where the war is happening. Our protests happened in America because we were protesting the war against our people since chattel slavery. We were justified rioting here. Not rioting, but protesting here, excuse me. Right? Pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas protesters chanted their demands for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. Okay. 30 minutes into the march, altercations began to break out amongst thousands of protesters. This is what they like, folks. CBS News reported, Chicago reported, video reports show members and supporters of black Hebrew Israelites, pro-Palestine groups violently attacking each other, some using flags as weapons and others throwing objects. One pro-Palestine protester was caught on video shouting the N-word. The N-word, Niger. What N-word, mind you? I'm curious. Could it be this N-word? One Palestine protester was caught shouting the N-word. Could it be this N-word, elder lawyer, in the Bible? Acts, the 13th chapter, that reads, "Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers," we're talking about the disciples, "as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called," what? What, y'all? Niger. See, those old southern whites down south with their southern slang couldn't say Niger. They said nigger. They couldn't say it exactly how it was stated initially, but they got that old southern twang instead of saying Niger, like our people were, the true teachers, the disciples. They started calling us nigger when it's Niger. Niger. And I wonder, what does Niger mean in the book of Acts? Are they calling us what we were called during the time of conveying the Christian doctrine, the true doctrine? Oh yeah, they were calling us black, who were the first Christians. You don't say. So it depends on what vantage point you're viewing this so-called derogatory slur. I don't take it as more so an insult than an identifier, if you're looking in the right place. Right? So you can call me this all you want. We're going to Acts the 13th chapter to get the record straight. That we're your teachers. That Christ would have been called Niger. The disciples would have been called Niger. So I'm not going to take this as some slur. I'm going to take this as what? An identifier. To prove that this article is yellow journalism at its best. We don't claim to be the Israelites. You are even calling us the true Israelites who were Christians, who taught you the way of Christ. Okay? All right? So let's get the record straight. Okay? But I digress. Let's go back in real quick. So the pro-Palestinian can call us what they want. And we'll teach them, and that's what a teacher would have done. A teacher would have said, listen, I have no problem with you calling me that. Did you know that you so-called Palestinian Christians aren't the Israelites or the Jews who set up true Christianity? Do you know that when you call us Niger, it's the same thing that we were called by the Romans and others as your first teachers? Huh? I'm talking about you Christian Palestinians. Do you know that Christ was a black man? You would have called him Niger, like Barnabas and Simeon. So I would have used that as a teaching moment. And I would have took the sting out of it for them, because really they want us to react through their fiery darts using provocation. I would have taught him. I'm like, so keep it on. Come on, Palestinian. What else am I? One pro-Palestine protester was caught on video shouting the N-word at black Hebrew Israelites. They don't just think as Israelites were, if they were living a day, the disciples, they would look just like us. No different. Okay, period. Right? So now they have engaged exactly what they wanted, Elder Lawyer. They have pulled Israelites into something that have nothing to do with them to be utilized in their demonizations. And this is why we don't deal with that. The Bible tells us you're not supposed to get involved with the Gentiles' affairs like this. Okay? But some people like attention, so hopefully, they don't suffer from what's coming with getting the wrong attention. But Elder Lawyer, I wanted to, since we're going into protest, Elder Lawyer, I thought that I would go into the Arab Spring. Speaking of political chaos exposed is where we are. Because it seemed like these protests coincidentally pop out of nowhere to shape what? To shape legislation in that country. Usually a protest leads to what? A legal precedent from that particular protest. It's all political. So in essence, the world powers need these particular protests so that they can come in and do what? Bring order, new world order, folks, in regimes that are actually resisting its progressive agendas. Right? So why did I go to the Arab Spring in particular, Elder Lawyer? Because there's something quite familiar that our people can identify with. Usually there's a marker or some type of telltale sign when provocateurs has been included within some type of movement where they'll tell us on the news that this is there's a conflict within the country. Okay, there's something going on where the people are separated and we need to get on one side to help these issues, right? That's how they do it. They call it an uprising and all these others, right? But there's usually telltale markers when an unseen hand is actually operating. Speaking of the puppet master, look at this here. There go that fist. Now, we've seen this fist before, Black Power, which has us look back at during the time of Martin Luther King, was a lot of these so-called protests and organizations created out of colleges as a divide and conquer tactic. So the Black Panthers come out of nowhere and all that when we should be under one ideology against one enemy. So you see this fist here. Every time the enemy is orchestrating. Over a year, a global visual space was dominated by the image of a clenched fist used as the main symbol of the Arab Spring. So they'll call it a revolution, folks. So some people somewhere used the Civil Rights March as a model for protesting, rioting, and conflict to bring agendas within that particular country to put that country under the order of the elitists. So every time you see this fist, it's a symbol. It's a symbol and a marker that something is going on. There's a controlled political hand operating outside of what they're I would say promoting or publishing as organic or grassroots. The clenched fist, used as the main symbol in the Arab Spring, when they went over Egypt, when they went over into Libya, when they went over into different parts of Afghanistan, Iraq, and every place they went, you would see this fist, which they they was actually covering as revolutions, right? Using the civil rights movement as a model. See, they hijacked that thing, I believe, after Martin Luther King was killed. And not only that, Elder Lawyer, you have to think about this. They were through, I would call, predictive programming, adjusting people to accept what we would have normally rejected during the civil rights movement. Right after, Elder Lawyer, right after Martin Luther King was killed, they coincidentally put Jesse Jackson in place. And what was the name, Elder Lawyer, of Jesse Jackson's organization?
What was it? Operation Push?
Yes, but also
Rainbow Coalition?
The Rainbow Coalition. Through predictive programming, they was pivoting off of the civil rights movement, getting us adjusted into a rainbow movement, using the civil rights movement as a catalyst. If we would have known what they was going to do with that, we would have told them, you take that coalition and you do what? You hide it where the sun don't shine. Right? So let's go back right here. So that fist is a telltale thing, right? So when you begin, Elder Lawyer, to track this symbol, this is when you realize that there's some clandestine spirit operating politically to run agenda against our people. With Dorothy Pittman Hughes, her and the fist transformative power raised of black community activism. And there's some claims out there that Gloria Steinem had some CIA affiliations. When the black woman was never oppressed by her man. We never had any power in America to oppress our women. A matter of fact, if we did anything against our women, they could actually call the plantation master to move us out of the house. So there was never a chance. Here you go. There go the fist again. A telltale sign of divide and conquer. Right? Here they are now. Folks, you have to understand the power of symbolism. They're letting you know they're operating amongst us. Right? Utterly destroyed the black community. What was left? There go that fist again. Right? And here it is with Black Lives Matter. See that, elder lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
Now there's more.
Just about to mention very quickly, that symbol, that clenched fist, is really a symbol of Marxism. That's all that is.
It's a symbol of what, elder lawyer?
That's a symbol of Marxism.
Exactly. It's a Marxist agenda to actually destroy the culture and or tradition of any country and implement a political time bomb that would destroy the country in the future of that particular country through a destructive political agenda such as Marxism.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right? But let's go. We're going to open up calls soon, but here we go. Look who else has the fist. Huh? So we don't align ourselves with anything politically that's going on out there because let me tell you, it's a satanic agenda that draws people in because they need the optics of chaos. Through the chaos, they can push the laws quicker on the local level, the state level, or even the federal level. They can. I'm gonna tell you, Congress and Senate they'll push laws quickly if they can show forth chaos as an optic which needs solution. Hence the reason I told our brother, don't you ever get caught up in none of that mess. You don't know who's out there. And the elder lawyer, that leads us here. What did I find online? You know what I have to do here? I have to take my time with this one. Elder, look what I found online. Crowds on demand. What is crowds on demand? Your home for protest, rallies, advocacy, audiences, PR stunts, and political events. Services available nationwide. Oh, so if I need the optics of a rally or a protest, which the news can now put their cameras out there and show forth something organic, you mean to tell me I can actually buy one of these? Interesting. So what I did was, elder lawyer, I went to Who Are We? You know I connect the dots, right? Who are we? Who can I contact if I want the optics of a rally or a protest? How can I get people and align people to be out there as if they're for my cause when it really could be something, let me show you here. When it really can be something else. Right? So they would have people at mask and all that, and you would think that they're all for a cause, but you don't know that maybe, could be, they're just protesting for the optics, the illusion of protest that leads to certain laws getting passed to finance either side of the war. And especially if you got certain people over the programs in which the finances are siphoned through. So, but you need the optics of chaos to drive the politicians to vote yes on some of these things probably. But it's deep that you can cause someone to get a crowd, right? Let me see, who are we, elder lawyer? Who are we? Crowds on demand. Look at these people. Crowds on Demand was founded by Adam Swart in October 2012 to revolutionize the people business. Huh? Interesting, isn't it? Interesting that, Adam Swart, CEO. Adam takes a hands-on approach with all crowds on demand clients, helping them to advocate for important causes, because you need the optics to show that there's a constituency behind whatever cause you're dealing with. The more people behind it, the more that the world will believe that it's an issue. Build their businesses, settle disputes, or amplify their message. Adam has a long track record of delivering major wins even on the toughest of campaigns. Before starting Crowds on Demand, Adam worked as a reporter for AOL's patch sites and product management positions at various Bay areas. I told you we can find the puppet masters. Yes, we can. Huh? Now, one other thing I wanted to go into particular is talent. Huh? Join our team. Would you like to become a paid protester? Huh? Elder Lawyer, you think you want to jump in there, man, and probably get a few shekels out of this or what? A few dollars?
I'm good.
I'm Hebrew, so in the
Yes,
Bible
sir.
it talks about those shekels and all that. So I wanted to bring that in there.
Right.
Right? Make it, and then in Channel 6 and others, when ABC, NBC, CNN, if they report it, they'll report these things. They're not going to ask people, did you call in, did you audition for, for the march? Huh? Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Y'all see this? Uh-huh. Never get caught up in the protest. Never. And another thing, when you see it on TV, don't pick up their talking points as a point of conversation in your personal lives. You're carrying their water. They want you to see the events on the news and all that and talk organically. Like, man, you see those people got shot the other day. Do not get caught up into any of it, folks. They want you to carry it because it's us carrying something we didn't witness that brings all of these things to life. If it didn't happen in front of you, think in your mind that that it doesn't apply. This is how Satan get everyone caught up into their sleight of hand. If you didn't see it, don't go on. That's right. Don't go to work. Don't go around your friends and say, man, you see see what happened the other night? Oh my God, it's a shame. Man, we need to do something about this, man. This world is going to hell. What's going on? Oh yeah, they said he ducked too. Yeah, he was ducking behind. Do not carry any of their talking points, folks. If it happened, okay, but don't you carry it. You ought to view this prophetically from the outside of it, like we are. Or you'll be caught up into their provocation. They need spirits. They need the emotion that come through your spirit to feed their agendas. And when you start talking about it, and because so many people talk about it, it makes it realer than it is. It makes it realer than it is. And I'm going to tell you, folks, and they had many top psychologists and all that, high scientists and all that who came together and say, listen, the bigger the lie, the more it's believable. See? I forgot the one who made that quote. The bigger the lie, the more believable it becomes. See? So the whole deal is, folks, be very careful that you're not. See, not only do I tell our people not to engage in these protests when they're out there, and be careful with these provocateurs out there, don't engage with allowing them to have space in your mind concerning their events. Because this would trigger you to do their bidding in your house. When the only bidding you should be doing in your house is from above, the Most High. The Most High. Huh? Oh, y'all didn't? Oh, yeah. Crowds on demand. How y'all like that? You want your home for protests, rallies, advocacies, audiences, PR stunts? Yeah, you want a PR stunt? And political events? Well, we got services right here nationwide. You can contact us and you can request a quote. Let us know how we can help you plan your next protest, your next PR stunt. Okay? And let us know. I mean, who knows? We have talent. So if you want a Palestinian Arab type deal, we got about 50, 60 of those guys we can put out there. And we just make sure they carry the right flag, depending on what part of the East you're from. We got about 30, 40 of them. Bring their wife and children out. You know, line their pockets with a few bucks and walk down the street and have you believe that this has something to do with anything. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. You want a KKK rally? Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, just tell us what you want. We got some hoods for you. You know, probably have my man take off his shades. You know, take off his shades and, put a few tats on him. Put a few tats on him. You know what I mean? And, I would say, have him holding a Budweiser walking down the street hollering white power, but we know Bud then went to Bud Light have went to his grave, so we can't have that, right? And maybe we need a rainbow thing going on right here. You know what I mean? Put a little rouge, pink hair, is raining men, put that in the back, and we can get that thing popping. Okay. All right. See? Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to that man of sin must be revealed. And then after that, we'll open up the lines. We're not going to have a long broadcast tonight at all, right? Y'all doing a great job. We're over 2,000. We're thick up in here, and we're going to have a conversation tonight. I told the Israelites and brothers, stop getting caught up into these political provocations. Because the law that was put on the books when it comes to religious extremism did not, folks, focus on what religion they would claim is extreme. They didn't say that these laws being passed for religious extremism would only apply to the Muslims in our country.
Mm-hmm.
See? They didn't say Muslim extreme. They said religious extreme. See, you have to be very careful to hear their legalese when they talking about, and they had us thinking, yeah, those towel heads over there, man, they hurt our country, man. We can put things in the books and make sure none of that happen again. And don't even know they talking about your sons who would one day come up and your daughters who one day may come up and realize that we're the children of Israel.
Right.
They can pivot right off the Arabs, right? And they can't claim, folks, that this is about some fear against Arabs and jihad like they're claiming. At the same time, allowing thousands upon thousands of them to come into the country to get resources, grants, housing, while putting our people out in the cold. Another thing, while they have us looking one way, Elder Lawyer, I need you to check this out. Have you been out in a major city lately? In crowded areas in major cities? Have you realized that the landscape have changed as far as the ethnicity of people? You're seeing less and less black people unless you go into the hood, and the more of everyone else. Check this out, Elder Lawyer. Thank you. Thank you, Shapat, for giving me this. We're going to go over this more this coming Sunday. Check this out, Elder Lawyer. While they got you looking at some protests that really don't mean anything as far as I'm concerned, because I understand biblically what's going on over there in the Middle East. Okay? That's the Valley of Jehoshaphat. All of these countries are going to fight against each other, including, because why? The Palestinians, Moab and Ammon, made a deal with Amalek against our people when we were in Israel. When the Romans came against our people, folks, we are from Jerusalem. Okay, period. Okay, that's no theological prophetic thing going on. That's a political thing that's going on between what? That's right, between the imperialists, the colonialists, and the rest of the people. Now, the people that are taking over, do they have the right to do it? Yeah, they have the right to do it. Because the Bible will tell you that at the very end, Esau would rule. Okay? So, yeah. Esau, the Roman Empire, aligned with our cousins, the children of Lot, the Jordanians, and the Moabites who surround that particular area, who went into Israel. The Palestinians had no business going in there from the beginning. Okay? That's our prophetic view of it. They went in there believing that that was the deal that was cut with Rome, not realizing Esau had no intentions of allowing you to stay there. Okay? So no sooner as Esau set his New World policy in place, fake missionary through Muslims, that's right, the Catholic Church, I got research, we went into it, there's a connection between the Catholic Church setting up Islam and incentivizing, and as well as giving the Muslims weapons to enslave our people. We went into that in the academy, where the Catholic Church has a connection with Islam against us. They were incentivized. They would come under the guise or the cloud of missionary, or to bring us God, only to kill us with the swords, destroy our women, and to reprogram our children. Okay? So what happens here? There was a deal between Esau and Ishmael. Psalms 83. To cut us off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. So the children of Lot thought they can go into our land and stay there and have our beautiful land for so long, not realizing that Esau was going to double cross them. That no sooner as Esau come around and get Israel under check throughout the earth, set a grid in place to be able to identify Israelites throughout the earth through their medical apparatuses and others, that no sooner as they get the earth under control, they would circle right back into Israel and deal with the people who double-crossed us, who had a hand in destroying our people when we were escaping the slaughter of the Roman Empire in 70 AD. This is history here. So when we ran to our brothers and sisters from Jordan, Moab, and all these others, they closed the gate on us while our children were slaughtered. When the men were killed, and the children was taken, and the women were what? They were taken as bed women for those same particular people. And now the Most High God has made a reckoning in that country, and we are not to associate ourselves with it. See, you thought we were going to stay in darkness forever, when all of you have colluded against us. Talking about conflict on every side. There haven't been a time throughout history that they weren't in conflict with us. And that's speaking of all of them. let the Most High will be done. And these brothers who out there, Israelites, I know they're young, they're trying to get their feet wet and recognition and all that. They don't understand. They're playing a very dangerous game. They're playing a very dangerous game. What would Christ do if he was here? Christ said, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. I send you out as sheep among wolves. Don't get entangled into Satan's affairs. They're fighting over the little crumbs that are left. We got next. Get out of the way and let it fall if it's going to fall. Or you'll become collateral damage. While everyone is looking the other way, Elder Lawyer, look what's happening here. A staggering 22,187 Chinese nationals arrested attempting to cross the U.S. southern border. So who is actually coming into the country, folks? And what are their plans? A massive 22,187 Chinese nationals were arrested crossing the U.S. southern border. So we thought it was Venezuelans, right? Is there a plan that Americans haven't been told about? Is this organized? Were arrested crossing the U.S. southern border between January and the end of September, representing an almost 13-fold increase on the same period last year. You notice the landscape is changing when you look in areas that are crowded areas downtown and all that, where you're seeing less and less of our people and more of everyone else. The number of Chinese crossings appears to be accelerating, with arrests in September up to 70% compared to August, for a total over 4,000. Many of the Chinese illegals who are overwhelmingly lone adults begin their journey in Ecuador, which allows visa-free travel for Chinese nationals. From there, they join migrants of many other nationalities for the long march north through the Darien Gap, a roadless land route from South America to North America covered in thick rainforest. Elder Lawyer, I don't know about you, but it sounds like they're giving other people the map on how to get through too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, you got others looking at this saying, I didn't know that route.
Mm-hmm.
While fewer than 400 Chinese nationals are recorded as having made the arduous trek in over a decade from 2010 to 2021, the figure rose to 2,500 in 2022. So far in 2023, officials in Panama say they have registered 15,567 Chinese slogging through the gap. Are we witnessing a red dawn? Are we witnessing a red dawn coming in an entirely different way, contrary to how they said it would happen in the movies? Red Dawn is when it shows some Chinese coming in from California with planes and all that, taking over and all that. That's the Red Dawn, where there was a outright war. Right? The movie Red Dawn. But even the Chinese said, of course we cannot take down America like that. Why? Because there will be what? A gun behind every blade of grass. You'll be up against a standing army of millions. So of course, if the way they'll have to do it is they would have to do it another way, right? At the same time being promoted in our country, they have laws on the books, the Asian law that protect hate crimes, xenophobia, and all these others they're claiming. When we couldn't even get a hate crime bill, the first thing they did was give Chinese, political protection. And on top of that, placed them in every movie or production, every other commercial to give the optics of accepting more of them and less of us. That's the power of public relations. At the same time, you will push, if there's any event or shooting, you would push gun control and all that to make it where it'll be harder for others to actually get their what? Legal protection under the law when it comes to protecting oneself. Right? I need y'all to think about this. And this is why when I see these shootings and all that, I say, you know what? I'm sorry to hear all these things are going on. You know, it's a bad deal. But I don't think any laws actually, myself, I believe the laws on the books handles criminals. If anything, living and being raised in North Philadelphia, I understand if you do a crime with a gun, they have laws on the books to deal with that immediately. So I don't think anything new should be popping off outside of the laws that are already there, because a criminal that actually harmed someone and break the law should be judged and prosecuted under the law. I don't believe no new stuff need to be drafted where the lawful people, the citizens, are penalized due to criminal behavior. Okay? I shouldn't be able to not get access to protect me and my family because some nut job somewhere did something. Yeah, and the majority of these guys anyway end up taking a dirt nap at the end of the day, right? He's dead already, so there's nobody to judge. So there you go. Justice have been made already. So be careful with all this stuff, towing the public line when it comes to all these things. Oh yeah, man, we need to do something about guns. Well, I tell you what happens when they need to do something about you being a legal citizen, a law-abiding citizen, and they're saying, yeah, we need to do something about it. Give me what belongs to you. With all these people coming into the country, and you don't know what they're coming in with, but yet the laws are being put on the books to take away your constitutional right to protect your family. Think about that. And while you're thinking about that, hear the last paragraph here. I need you to preface everything I've just told you. Hear the last paragraph. While a small fractions of the migrants entering the United States under the under Biden's regime, Chinese illegals are suspected by many to represent a unique security threat. Because there's a possibility, it says, it could be, who knows? You don't know these people, whether it be spies, Communist Party, agents, ranks, unusually stronghold the CCP regime is able to exercise over its expatriates abroad. So, folks, while they're talking about disarming law-abiding citizens here, think about that. At the same time, letting in strangers that you don't know what their ideologies are. And if they can get through illegally, what's to stop them from getting through with something that can harm people? Just think about it. And then it comes down, another question must be asked. Are they strategically pulling the plug on America intentionally? If what's being done here, now it have been done in other places, folks, in the places that you see the fist, in all the places you see that fist, folks, it has happened. In all the places you see this fist, it has happened. And now, it has come home full circle with the Black Lives Matters Marxist fist. No country where this particular symbol has been erected through revolution was the same after the revolution. This is how America is made bare and eventually destroyed by fire, according to Revelation 17. But again, that man of sin must be revealed, the puppet master. Elder Lawyer, let's go here to Thessalonians. And I believe we did an adequate job at the end of it, showing you their puppet masters who work behind the scenes when it comes to all these agendas that we believe are organic protests. Follow the money and follow the legal precedent that are now the legal precedents which are made through and after a protest, and you'll understand what those things are really about. It has nothing to do with us or the benefit of our people. Unless somebody talking about doing something for us, right? Guess what? You can talk to the head because the ear is not hearing it, right? That's that old thing we had back in the day. You talk to the head. Okay? Because I understand there's no protest out there that doesn't come with some level of funding or financing on the back of it. And usually when the finances are coming, they're dividing the money that should have came to our people. While our children are suffering, while the jobs are drying up, when there's nothing for our people, they want us protesting on the side so that they can now draft a law that will make more people of their ethnicity who have destroyed us in the past come over to do what the disease couldn't. It seems as if they're looking to finish the job, right? Thessalonians, Elder Lawyer, we will not be long at all tonight. I want to hear what say you. Let's get it, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3.
Hold on, let me get it. 2 Thessalonians 2. One second. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3. Read it.
Yes, sir. Let no man deceive you by any means.
Let no man deceive you by any means. So we know the enemy lives in deception. Sleight of hand. Folks, if it's on the news, whatever it is, before you get emotionally drawn in, take a step back, breathe, and wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you some insight. Whatever they're talking about on the news in that particular state or city, type in whether or not there's some laws that will soon be passed or they're voting on that could be similarly attached to that event. It'll blow you away on how these things are right on time. When something happens, there's a vote in the House and Senate on the same thing to pass, where now that particular event or protest have fueled yes votes for funding for any particular agenda they're pushing. So sit back and say, why are they showing me this with all the news out here? Why they aren't showing our people suffering? Why they ain't? Because if you show that the opposite of our people suffering, then there's what? As a constituency, they must discuss what's going on with us in Congress, Senate, and actually do votes on it. Because there's money behind it. This is what Martin Luther King was trying to tell people. So if they take us off the platform or off the spectrum, off the stage of being victim, understand this, folks. There's no money where there is no victims. Understand this. There is no money where there is no victims. Okay? And understand, this is why when I look at movies, Schindler's List and other things, these things are continually put in the minds of people to remind people of why finances are going certain places and all that. This is why money and all this continue to flow, because there's an example in our conscience concerning who's the victim opposed to others. And when they show slavery now, they show slavery in an entirely different light. When they show slavery, it's revisionist history. Slavery is, it wasn't that bad in their movies now. The black man is a Hebrew who actually saved us out of slavery, which never happened. The Django and all that. And then they'll show what? They'll show a white savior in the narrative every time. Y'all need to understand, folks, follow the money and follow the legislation before you get what? Before you get emotionally drawn into anything you see on TV. Let's read it, Elder Lawyer, once more.
Yes, sir. Let no man deceive you by any means.
Read.
For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
See, Christ, it tells us that Christ wouldn't return, will not return until we reveal the man behind the curtain, the one who's pulling all the strings, who's hiding behind people of color. See? I don't just check out the people of color you put in front of me. I don't just check out Kamala. I do the research on her husband and his political affiliations and what he had going on before he met her. I didn't just look at Barack Obama. I looked at who raised Barack Obama. Right? And their political ambitions and ideologies. You have to watch the people who are using people of color as fronts. When they say people of color, in translation, here are the alliances against the children of Judah, against the people, God's people, the children of Israel. Every time they say person of color, people of color, they're talking about the alliances against us, folks. For that day shall not come except there come a falling away first. Read.
And that man of sin be revealed.
We must reveal the Wizard of Oz. Come to find out that he's behind all the gadgets. Y'all seen him in that closet, Wizard of Oz. We off to see the wizard, right? We off to see the wizard. I wonder who they were talking about, Elder Lawyer. If I only had a brain. Straw man. This is what happens when you mess up the public schools, where the black young men in particular are reading on a 4th grade level. To only push the sisters academically as leaders of a community, knowing that no nation have ever thrived under a matriarchy. If I only had a brain, right? And then you had what? Not only was the people being dumbed down, when you look at the Wizard of Oz, Elder Lawyer, you also have what? There's no place like home. A people without a home. Jerusalem. And then you had what? The Tin Man. The Tin Man didn't have any heart. And then you have the Lion of Judah without courage. A coward without courage. You put all that together, they're telling you right in your face the whole story. Because you're going to go down that brick road to try to get it all from the man behind all the gadgets and realize he have nothing to give you anyway. He's the Wizard of Oz pulling all the strings to keep you in bonds. So it tells us that Christ would not return. Christ would not return until we begin to understand what? We begin to understand the man behind the curtain. Huh? Who've been feigning victim the whole time while destroying us. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And guess what? Christ broke it down. St. John 8:44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. You were a murderer from the beginning, and the truth is not in you. So Christ was telling us to understand who the liar is and don't believe him at any time, under any circumstance. It's safe. It's effective. Well, it depends on, what it depends on the outcome you was expecting, whether or not it's effective, right? It depends on what you were seeking to get out of it. Who opposeth, read Elder Lawyer,
who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God.
So they want to sit in the temple of God. So they're going to try to present themselves, right, as the people. Read.
Showing himself that he is God.
Read.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things.
And Paul said, remember when I was with you, I warned you that these people are Satanists with a full agenda to destroy the children of Israel. The 6th verse, and this is why Christ said in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9, he was identifying those who were coming against the children of God. Now, that's their position. That's their job. Satan is allowed to do what he's doing with his people until he be taken out of the way. But our people are to understand the war we were born in, to navigate through their what? Through their deceptive tactics against the children of Israel. Or you'll fall. Esau's a cunning hunter. And what better trap for a hunter than to have a person trap and or off themselves? 6, let's read it.
Yes, sir. Verse 6. And now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time.
Read.
For the mystery of iniquity doth already work.
For the mystery of iniquity was working during Paul's time. Christians, wake up. There will be no one antichrist anywhere. The Bible says there's many antichrists. That was a theology that was created by the Jesuits. And when you get an opportunity, yes, I'm going into this book, this academy. You got it. The secret history of the Jesuits. Watch out. The mystery of iniquity doth already work. Stop waiting for an antichrist. The antichrist was working during Paul's time. The same people with the same agendas are against the children of Israel till this day. And these are the people who what? Who mock Christ, who claim he isn't the Savior, who outright hate Christ publicly but still get Christian support. Showing you the simpletons within modern day Christianity. They'll even back people who are public antichrist. No wonder they're able to deceive you. Read on.
For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way.
See? Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So, folks, they have time to do what they're doing, but their sin have been measured at its sum. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Most High have allowed them to build themselves up for their own demise, their own destruction. It's upon our people not to get caught up in it. He who now letteth will let until they be taken out of the way. Because they're actually operating to take away the wicked like themselves. This is why you shouldn't listen to these people. Listen to the prophecies of God. Open his Bible, read it. Understand where you stand prophetically with God. Don't listen to these people. They're the Wizard of Oz. They got their talking heads and teleprompters and all of that. Their psychology to make you believe what they're saying is true. Read 8.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Read.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan.
And we know who Christ is talking about. The same people who opposed Christ when he walked the earth. Who's coming after the work. We talking about Harry Potter here. Who's coming after the working of Satan. Read.
With all power.
With all power.
Signs.
So he's in political positions. And see, and that's the sleight of hand. That's the Jedi mind trick. To have full power, but still present yourself in the world as victim. When if you have the power, there's no way you can be outside of the movies, outside of your productions, be presented as victims. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Read.
10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness and in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
See that? So you have those who are in Christ warning our own people about these evildoers. And because they're wicked and don't want to be right, and receive not the love when it comes to you and I warning them that they might be saved. Read.
And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie.
So because they didn't want to listen when God told them and warned them against the devils, he's going to allow them to fall through the lie of these devils. See? So now it's not just speaking of these devils who are behind the curtain, but those who are living in wickedness, who refuse to hear God. Now that devil can easily receive them because why? They don't have the word to understand. They don't have the understanding of God to understand how to interact with Satan's children. 12.
Yes, sir. That they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
That have pleasure in unrighteousness. So those who are down with all of these so-called immoral activities and saying don't judge, live and let live and all this. This is why he has the devil over there programming you and also destroying you. He allowing the devil to do this because why? The world has gone to hell with no moral compass. You better wake up. We here hit the like button. We're about 1,000 down. Elder Lloyd, you have anything else to say before I open up the lines?
No, sir. Let's go to the lines.
All right, let's go. My brother from the same mother. Call in. And, I'm not going to try to stay here long at all. Nice and effective. Organized political chaos exposed. Right? Let's open up the lines. What say you? Early night tonight. And of course, this is Men Week in the Academy, the purpose of man from birth to the grave, our true purpose according to God. Folks, a lot of brothers out there saying, man, I'm struggling. I don't know what's going on. I regret making certain choices. Get your mind out of that. There's an opportunity where you are at the age you're at now. Get your foundation together under the Almighty and put purpose on the table. I'm going to show you how the prophets did it. I'm going to show you how God did it. We're going to use Jacob as an example. Even Solomon before the fall as an example. How at a certain age, from birth, there's an anointment and there's a covenant made with that boy. A covenant with that boy and God, that son. And at 12, that's when he come of age to begin his what? That oath. Standing as a man with a directive on earth, a purpose by God. And then he began to build his wealth, his finances. It's in scripture how Jacob done it. And don't forget, Jake, our father, he had to build his wealth before he could marry Laban's daughters. So that's putting everything in priority. And when he got Rachel and Leah, they came into an already moving prophetic machine to help meet. If we do these things outside of its proper order, you know what we get? Perpetual slavery and generational curses. At the end of the day, the nations again only intended for our people to be breeders in America, to breed servants, and to do what? And for their sexual pleasures. That's all they wanted from us, folks. They never intended for us to be what we've become. So it's time for us to get out of the purpose that they've made under the curse for us and stand under the purposes of God. I'm going to be dealing with this week, Men Week. Even though we got brothers and sisters, many in the academy who are brothers and sisters, we're going to break down the wisdom of man according to God and purpose. And the next week, we're going to talk with the sisters and say, this is the intentions, what the Most High intended for women according to the spiritual law, the Holy Spirit. And we've all made mistakes. We've all done it wrong. We've all been born, under this darkness. But brothers and sisters, it's not too late. This week, the men, next week, the women. Very good wisdom classes. Straight wisdom. All right? Hope you're there. Go to historytimes.org. 515-605-9327. All right? All right, let's call in. Hey, lawyer, you there?
Blog Talk Radio. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Unmuted.
Okay, brothers and sisters, welcome to the broadcast. What say you? Hopefully some understanding out there have come into full view for you, brothers and sisters. Understand that these protests aren't what you think, And it's not wise with our brothers who are out there teaching, adding themselves into these political provocations. It's going to end bad. At the end of the day, it's our people with these groups feeding into the devil's hands. And when it all goes down, none of them going to be able to say and claim what, as far as what comes from their actions. None of them are going to be able to say that they were being persecuted for Christ's sake, that they were delivering the word, and this is why they're going through what they've gone through. Nah, that ain't our position. So that grandstanding and all that old other stuff, they need to back up off that. Okay, because eventually, politically, they're going into the demonization as well as the radicalizing to deem Israelites like those as radicals on the laws that was drafted during that jihad period of drafting laws in our country. That's where they're going. And I'm going to tell you this now. And they already have a yellow journalistic YouTube site who only focus on Israelites collecting data. Okay, for every event intentionally that will be utilized. What they're doing is framing all of them as a jihadi group in the United States. Okay? They have apologetics and all that, where their full focus is to make what? A dossier, a video dossier, where they go through all the videos where a brother was out on the street cursing someone out or threatened someone or said something vulgar. All of that they're collecting with a timestamp and a dossier to label these men terrorists. Okay, Christina has her hand up.
Hello, Elder.
How are you
How are
doing,
you
Christina?
doing?
Bless you. How are you?
I'm doing okay. The situation that I'm in. I just first of all wanted to say thank you for keeping your hands to the plow and continuing to bring some souls in.
All praise be to the Most
I really
High.
wanted to talk to you. I really have an urgent situation, and I really needed for you to call me. So,
well, if it's personal, I don't want to put that out online, but I'll definitely.
No, I don't either.
Okay, 1 second.
But I'm facing an eviction in 3 weeks, I think. It's about 3 weeks. So,
Well,
but I would
sister, I
like
said
to
I didn't want you to put their
personal.
stuff online. That's personal.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Lord,
I
have
thought you
mercy.
meant talking about somebody or something. So,
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Let me write it down here. All right. What's your name again? Christina?
Christina.
Are
Yes.
you an active member of the church?
I'm from the San Antonio body, and that's another thing that I would like to discuss with you as well.
So you're in the
I'm a
body in
baptized
San
member.
Antonio? Okay, good. All right. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm a baptized member as well.
All right. 1 second. Let me write it down here. One second. Hey, lawyer, tell me when you get back, all right? Let's see. All right, sister, I'll make sure you get a call, okay?
All right. Thank you. Have
All
a
right.
blessed evening.
You're welcome. And it's up to you whether or not you want to stay on or drop off. It's up to you. I'm going to place you on hold. All right?
All right.
All right. Cora has a comment. Woman anointing question.
Shalom, Elder. Yes, I want to know if when women pray, can you anoint people? Can women anoint people? And also, can women allowed to lay hands on people for healing?
Well, that's usually a position of men. Now,
Okay.
if you're anointing children in your home and things of that nature under your nurtured care, then that's one thing. When it comes
Okay.
to a public scenario, when you understand, when it's more
Uh-huh.
so from an institutional position, women aren't supposed to do that when it comes to the church per se. But you could
Oh,
anoint and
okay.
pray over your children and grandchildren. There's nothing wrong with that.
In the home. Okay. All right. And now one other thing. If you were baptized in a Christian church, what's the significance? Someone asked, would they need to be baptized again? I didn't have a good answer for them. The only thing I could tell them was just that, well, if you want to, be baptized, on the fast, what is the scenario in that situation? If
Okay,
you were
well,
baptized in a Christian church and to be
okay.
baptized in GEORGANISEERDE.
All right. The whole thing is when you go into the scriptures, and the scriptures talks about the baptism of John, right?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Uh, when it came to John's disciples who didn't, even though they were baptized under him, they didn't receive that spirit that came with the disciples' baptism through Christ. So when they ran into the disciples, they were baptized again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yes, and then I just had one. And then the quick comment I had was that when Martin Luther King was assassinated,
Yeah.
at the time we were all thinking, that this white man killed him because of what he was preaching and saying. But when you were talking about what he was talking about, basically, he was really killed basically because he was too intelligent. They killed his intelligence, just like it's the powers that be, those people behind the curtains. They were instrumental. I forget the name of the guy who shot him, but anyway, he was just a pawn, just like the guy who Oswald when he killed JFK.
Oh, you
He
mean
was just a puppet.
you talking about like a patsy type of deal, right?
Right.
Allegedly already. All right.
That was just the name that
Yeah.
they used.
There's different conspiracy
It's the big guy
conversations
that
out
was
there on that.
behind it. The powers that be. JFK was killed because he didn't want to go along with the New World Order, and Martin Luther King was killed because he was too intelligent. What he was talking about was too much.
Well, yeah, but
Mhm.
see, but another thing is, he wasn't just some, intellectual. He was well beyond intellectual. He was spiritually driven. He was
Right.
spiritually driven in his core beliefs. Believe it or not, you can't make a mark in this earth as such without some strong spiritual connection from above. It's on a whole different level because he was convicted. He was convicted in his conscience concerning what? A political agenda he thought was deeply intertwined in his belief to help our people. But the reality of the matter, he realized that we can't save our people through this political system. The whole deal, it was a compromise, and it was too late. By the time he tried to reel it back, the train had already left the station. They were already moving forward towards this what you would call multiculturalism, Babylonian type of world that would totally rip our people apart. Because at least in segregation, when we were segregated, we were forced to support one another. Right? Because no one else was dealing with us. So obviously, there was another level of needed self-empowerment that would dissolve through the civil rights movement. And when desegregation happened, now what happens? We're supporting all of these immigrants and other who's coming in under visas and all these laws that are passed through the civil rights movement by our people. So now we're supporting their businesses, their families, their homes getting built in other countries and all that. So that's when he realized, okay, they played me. And then he flipped the switch and say, well, no, it didn't cost you anything for us to vote. It didn't cost you anything for desegregation. As a matter of fact, the economy began to boom because you were getting black dollars when you weren't before the desegregation, right? So he said, listen, it's time for y'all to cut the check for our people. Because eventually, if you don't give us a political higher ground than all the people coming in, the people are going to come in and overrun us in our communities. And exactly what he foreseen is happening right now.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh. In fact, desegregation was detrimental to us.
Very detrimental. This black and brown, this clown ideology, because then they can just switch it off with anything. Okay, let's do black and brown people. Okay, let's do gay people. Let's do white women. Let's do anything. You know, I mean. Yeah. Let's do light-skinned pygmies, who swing from trees. Let's just anything. Let's do midgets with 4 toes. Make anyone a group now.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, sister.
Yeah.
All right.
So long.
All right. Thank you. But it's still the devil operating, the Wizard of Oz operating at the same time over every group, no matter what group that's put up. He has an organization that's siphoning money, that he actually have money coming through government subsidies and all that, in control of the resources for their front people, their black and brown people. There's always one of them behind any of these black or brown people, right? Joshua.
Shalom.
Shalom, sir. How are you? You said you have a tabernacles question?
Yes, sir. I just been reading, and I was reading the 2 scriptures that I have is Leviticus 23 and 39, and
okay,
then
let me
another one that I have.
Let me get it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Take your time. I'll work with you here.
Sir.
All right. Leviticus, go ahead.
Leviticus 23 and 39.
Okay. I'm going to go down.
And then
all right.
I have another one.
Okay. It says,
okay, I'm listening.
And in the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered the fruit of the land, you shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. Right?
Yes, sir.
And on the first
my
day,
question is, what is the
go ahead.
What is the significance of the 8th day? And then I also want to know, is the 8th day something separate from the Feast of Tabernacles? And I really just want to know, because I've been really confused.
No, because what you usually have is what? You have 7 nights and 8 days.
Okay.
It still comes down to 7.
Okay. It still comes down to 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what? It's still that day until the sun go down. So that 8th day, it's really talking about there's 7 nights, which is the change of nights, but you got 8 days in between. That's all it is.
Yes, sir. Okay. And I know that says the first day is a holy convocation.
Okay, let's count, right? Let's count,
sir.
Right? Just say if it's Friday. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown is what?
Just 8 days.
No,
technically.
No. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown is 1, right?
1 day. Sorry about that.
Okay, you keep on going. You got Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, Saturday sundown, Saturday sundown to Sunday sundown, Sunday sundown to what? Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday, right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, which is that Saturday, we end it and we leave out.
Okay.
You got it?
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay.
It's that
and
simple.
Then, so what's the significance? Okay, and then the 8th day is, and it says it's a Sabbath unto us. That's where my question was. Is what does that mean?
So when it says, on the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day
Yes,
shall
sir.
be a Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
When you count it out, it's 7 days. When you count it out, when you look in the Hebrew,
Mm-hmm.
it's more even clear. You count it out,
Yes, sir.
it's 8 days and 7 nights. It's talking
Okay.
about the
Yes,
days
sir.
in between.
Okay. Thank you.
It's really talking about the rounding off of that last Sabbath. That's all it is.
Okay. Okay.
All
Thank
right?
you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome. What church are you a part of?
Elder. I've actually been watching you this whole time, Elder.
Well, why aren't you a part of a church?
I've actually been reaching out to get baptized, and I sent this question in an email, and I just been waiting. I live in Alexandria, Virginia, and they said they was going to send somebody that's I guess from my local area to correspond with me. We just haven't started corresponding yet, Elder. But I've actually been in 3 academies already as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. All right.
Yes, sir.
So
All
bless you. Thank you. And yeah, I wanted to clear something up here. All right. Elder Lawyer, you there? Yeah, let me clear this up for you, brother, so I can. Hello, are you there, brother?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. Yes, sir.
You have to realize when it comes in, right? You got Friday, which is a Sabbath, right? But
Yes,
then
sir.
when you go down, when you look at it, sundown Sabbath, Saturday, sundown,
Okay.
that begins
Mm-hmm.
it, because what you have is you got Friday, which is the Sabbath, and then you have the 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes,
it
sir.
falls on the Sabbath. All right. So you have a double Sabbath there.
Okay.
All right.
I get it. Yes, sir.
You got it? It falls
Yes,
on a
sir. Thank you.
Friday, and then you got your 7 days. Yeah. Bless you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
My
All right.
brother. Hey, brother, you got to get up in here, man. Time is running short. We need brothers like you.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom. All right. Let me put you on hold. Okay. Oh, Elder Lawyer said he's here. He's on hold. I want to make sure. All right. I'm just saying, Lawyer, because I may have to step away for a second. So if you hear me, come on and answer for at least 1 or 2 calls for me. All right? All right. There he is. Are you there, Elder?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I was on hold the whole time, but I'm listening in.
Okay, all right. In case I have to run real quick, in between, I'm trying to keep it flowing so we don't be here all night. So if you can answer a few questions after this call, that would be a blessing, all right?
Okay.
All right. Deborah has a comment. It says no one returned emails or phone calls concerning baptism. That's not true. That's not true. What happens is it's allocated, and we have to make sure we get behind the regional elders and the elders to make sure they contact in a timely fashion. But I think I had a conversation with AC, our tech guy, who can actually remedy that issue, that can remedy that. So I apologize if you haven't been gotten to in a timely fashion. We're going to fix that if that's the case. All right. We're going to fix that. All right. Deborah has a comment.
Shalom, Elder.
Hi, Deborah. Shalom.
Okay, and I just want to say about the that movie, Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Who does Toto represent? Remember the dog, the little dog? in the Wizard of Oz. It
I
says
don't know.
in the Wizard of Oz, Glinda represented the mother archetype because he looks out for Dorothy, and Toto represents the trickster because he was always creating problems. So, I mean, we grew up looking at that. I never saw any problems that Toto created.
Oh, I don't know.
All I saw that Toto was someone that provided comfort to Dorothy. It was her loyalty, and it was evident from the start.
Okay.
So them putting in and all or whatever that Toto represents a trickster. What are we talking about here?
Oh, well, I don't know
And then
about that.
Toto
I just made some generalities when it comes to.
no,
I noticed it because sometimes when it comes to art, you can have different perspectives on it, whatever the case is. But what I've seen from it is the fact that you have a person who's looking for home, right? On top of that, you got no heart, no courage, right? And on
That's
top,
right.
no brain,
Yeah.
right?
No brain.
And the fact that the one who's seeking courage is the lion, right?
Right.
So I was looking at that and saying, okay, there's a lot of metaphorical examples you can have or parabolic examples when it comes to the plight of Israel. No home. The Bible says says that we would lose our courage and we operating scared. We're the lion without courage. And that if you only had a brain, science and all that through their evolution, eugenics, they've been targeting the brains of our young men for the longest. This is why I don't deal with no stuff where you're trying to get my sons. No, our sons are good the way they are. We don't want to hear about attention deficits and all this other stuff. Mind your business and let us, men don't learn like little girls. Men's are hands-on. Men don't learn linear. So there's a lot of examples that we can give in all. But what you got on the outside of the Wizard of Oz, that was just something. It's just.
Yeah, it was just something I was saying. And the interior is an excellent family pet. So, but the Toto was the one. He was the one that pulled the curtain. He pulled the curtain.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. But
yeah,
do you got anything outside of the wizard thing? Because I'm
well,
talking.
outside of that, I wanted to say, I've been in the truth and all since 2019, and right now, I'm having issues and stuff, and I'll get into my body. That's really bothering me right now. I'm not, coming in with my body like I want to. I tried to set up with, and transportation is coming. It's been a while since it has happened, and it's just really bothering me consciously right now. I can't get to my body, and I need to be with my family. And
okay, when you say you can't get to your body, you're trying to congregate, is what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yes.
Okay. So why can't you congregate?
Well, right now, like I said and stuff, I'm having transportation issues. I tried to set up something, and then it's trying to get to a point to meet the people, and maybe I need to go back and see if they can maybe for right now try to arrange a way.
Okay, well, let me do this. Let me just take your number down. What state are you in?
I'm in Virginia.
Virginia, okay. All right, Deborah, I'm going to place you on hold. I'm going to put your number down, and I'm going to have somebody contact you, okay, to make sure you can congregate, all right?
All right, thank you. Shalom.
Shalom, Deborah. All right, I'm going to put her number down here. Deborah. And maybe we can get Kevin to reach her. Hold on. All right. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you have Blog Talk up right now?
I don't.
Okay, don't worry about it. Just stay on this next call for a minute. I'll be right back, okay? I need you to take the call.
Yes, sir.
You can presently hear the calls, right?
I can hear the calls, yep.
Okay, great. 1 second. All right. All right, let me take the next call. I'll be right there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, we have Robert with a comment.
Shalom, elders, and the water for all that y'all do.
Shalom.
Can you hear me?
Shalom. Elder Lawyer got you, all right? 1 second, I'll be right back.
Absolutely. Okay. Can you hear me, Elder Lord?
Loud and clear, my brother. What's your comment?
Okay, comment. And then I have a question afterwards. My comment, I wanted to just state that you're on point with everything that you do. The building that I actually work in actually helps assist every foreigner that's coming into the country. So it's ironic how you're on point with everything that you're bringing out. They get every of assistance that you could possibly imagine. Assistance in finding jobs, homes, car seats for children, coats, clothing, and it's all a nonprofit organization from the government. So there's no limit in the amount of money that they receive. I don't know if I could tell you the name of the organization, if that'll go against y'all dealing with YouTube. Is that something I could put on the air, or should I just save that for Patreon or something?
You can save it for Patreon, but I'm pretty sure, again, you said you're seeing this on the ground, these things taking place. What you can mention is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said I see it front hands on, like face to face, every day in my building. Every day the company is in the building that I actually work in.
Well, it's definitely a blessing for brothers and sisters to validate real time some of the things that we're bringing out as far as what's going on politically, and how this thing, we may look at what they call the crisis, the migrant crisis, as something that's separate from us, but in real time, it is definitely going to have an effect. It's having an effect now, and down the line, it's going to have a lasting effect on our community. But go ahead, you were saying?
Absolutely. And just so people don't think like it's like, oh, what a coincidence and stuff like this. Any ethnicity that you could possibly imagine, and when they come in, they have to use their telephones for translation. Like they don't even know English. They can't even communicate. And the company and organization has every race of people across the world, so they can translate and delegate the way they need to delegate.
All right. You said you had a question?
Yes, I was wondering if y'all if there would be a body in Colorado anytime soon.
Yes, we are working on getting a body there in Colorado. That would be, what's that? That's more so towards the West Coast, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So we're definitely looking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I did get baptized with the California body, but.
Okay.
The answer to that, Elder Lawyer, is absolutely. We will be setting up in Colorado soon. Absolutely. No doubt about it. So keep your ear to the ground. We're doing Tennessee, Colorado, and a lot of other areas. We're going to try to finish. Now that we've gotten the churches, all really under one foundation now, and is the best it's been since its inception, really. Now we're going to be sending out offices and all that. Right now we got the tests, the metries, and all that's going out, the appointments, and we're going to take these states by storm. Believe me, it's coming.
Beautiful.
So when it come around, I'm sure you'll put your hand to the plow and help that church become what it needs in Colorado. So I'm looking forward to meeting you one day, brother, and have you with the body doing your part. Just coming through. Make sure you keep your studies up and do your part. When we get there, we're going to establish you, set things up, establish you with the church also, and get some work done there. You and sisters there in Colorado. We have many there already who are waiting. So yes, sir. Just stand pat, and soon we'll be making those announcements for the countries that we're dealing with, as well as states in the United States that don't have a church right now. All right.
The water.
All right, my brother.
Shalom.
Shalom. Hold it tight now. Hold down tight. It won't be long, all right?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Thanks, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
All right. We have David. Saved out of Babylon question. All right. Yes. How you doing, David? You have a saved out of Babylon question. Shalom.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, sir.
Okay. My name is David. I'm in Southern California. I'm a member of the church.
Yes.
I've been left. I need some help. You shouldn't talk on the phone on the internet. I got a lot of information, but I'll tell you this. At Amos 3:3, can two walk together unless they be agreed? To me, that was your most famous saying. I need your help, Elder. I need help from the police.
You need help?
Please give me help.
You said you need help from the police?
From the police.
What you mean from the police? Did you do a crime?
No, I've done nothing.
Okay, let's reel this back, right? I'm going to the scripture that you've just mentioned. Can two walk together except they be agreed, right?
Excuse me, Elder. You talked to me before.
No, I need you. Hey, brother, I'm gonna need you to focus with me. I'm trying to get on the same page to understand, understand how I can help you with the call. You quoted a scripture, Amos 3:3. Can two walk together except they be agreed, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Why did you mention this scripture in the context of your call? Who's the other one? You're one, and who's the other one that you can't walk together with?
I can walk together with you, Elder. I'm with you. I'm with Together in Christ Church. I am with Christ. I am with the higher. But I need help. They got me stuck here. They got me pinned down here. And I need your help.
Okay, who have you stuck and pinned down? Who?
Okay. 23 years ago, I had a wife. I wanted a divorce. She wouldn't give me a divorce. Her and her friends, they fought it. They took me through all kinds of nonsense, whatever. We finally went to court, and they just took everything that I had. They took my job, my business, my home, my clothes. When I left out of court, all I had was the clothes I had on. They're trying to force me to go back to this woman, which she was a part of, how can I say, Masons. And I didn't know it when I married her, but I found out.
Okay, so what you're saying is you got yourself involved with a connected woman who's probably an Eastern Star within the Freemasons, correct?
Elder, you are the Most High chose you just right. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, so you got involved with a woman. You didn't even understand that she was dealing with some type of secret type of group. Okay, so where were you when your wife went to the lodge to her meetings and all these others?
She didn't go to the lodge. She is a different type of member.
What type of member is that?
She's a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay, this is what we have to do, brother. I can take your number, and I can call you. We can have a conversation off the air, because you're dealing with, your scenario is nuanced. It's a personal matter that I'm sure we cannot fix within a 2-minute call. So I'll tell you what, I'll place you on hold. I got your number, and we'll reach out and see how we can help you offline, okay?
Yes, I would appreciate that.
My brother. All right, bless you. All right. Let's see you next. Bless you, my brother. Stay strong. Lord, in the morning time, there's some stuff going on out there. I'll tell you. Stay in prayer. We have a good class coming when it comes to the men. We're going to focus on the men this coming Sunday. You definitely want to be in that academy. Building your foundation and purpose with the Almighty. Life in general can it can get overwhelmed based on some of the wrong choices we've made. But I'm going to tell you, do not let your choices become the bane of your existence. Get with the Most High and look at it from an outside perspective, and and build yourself separate from all of that. And I'll talk about that this coming Sunday. 901 area code. 901.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Your name?
Hi, my name is Zoe Johnson. Hello.
Hi, Zoe. The floor is yours.
Sorry. Okay, so my mother has actually called here a couple of times. Nicole Johnson.
Okay.
I'm her daughter, and I just first wanted to say that we definitely look forward to our church coming to a church coming in Memphis very soon.
Oh yeah.
And we just love the academy and everything. I guess, yeah, my question was going to be about the church, but I do have another one, and it's about, I guess, certain gifts when it comes to the church. So I'm 23 years old. I just finished school, and I play violin. I teach, so that's my job right now.
Okay.
And since I don't go to my Christian church anymore, where my brother is pastor, I guess I don't know. I've been playing a lot recently, and with the holidays coming up, I just want to make sure that I'm using my gifts for good for the Most High. And
okay, so
I guess I was
you
wondering.
have the holidays coming up. What would you like to do with your gifts?
Well, I do know that, of course, I can't do Christmas themed things, but I guess still being a best example for children, being a witness, and even with the church comes how I could possibly use my gift for that in any way.
Oh, of course, of course. When we set up the church there, you can play your music with us.
Okay.
I mean, I have a lot of music. Look online.
Okay.
Do it
Yes,
with us.
I would
Go in
love-
the studio, make some tunes. I mean, it'll be nice if you can hear the song "To Zion," and you heard that song, right? "To Zion."
Yes, sir.
See what you can do on the violin with that. Help us out.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I'll play it right here.
Yes, sir.
And you'll get a bigger audience right here than you're right here. 2,000 people over. You do it nice, and I'll play it right here. We're here to support each other. If that's your work and the Most I've gifted you with it, hey, let's have it. Listen to Zion, and let's see your rendition of that for us. And we'll start there. See where the Most High take it. How old are you?
23.
Okay, all right. Welcome to the body, sister. Welcome to the body, you and your mother, and we'll have a church there soon. And yeah, get to fiddling to Zion.
Thank you, God.
All right, all right. We're digressing.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We're digressing into digression, right? All right. I thought we had something. I'm sure people just want to talk, but it's okay. I'll take a few more. Let's see. Deborah has a comment. Oh, I already had Deborah on. I'm sorry about that. I'm going backward. Rhea has a comment. Rhea.
Hello, Elder. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Rhea. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So glad to be able to speak with you tonight. I just want to say thank you for everything that you do. You are truly a blessing. You and Elder Lawyer both.
Thank you. All praise be to the Most High.
Comments. Thank you. I had two comments. You had mentioned earlier about what they're teaching in school, I thought, as far as about slavery.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about that. My children, they are being taught online at home so I can kind of hear what's going on.
Okay.
My one daughter, she's in the 8th grade, and her history teacher, he was teaching about when America was colonized, and he was talking about the Native Americans, and he spoke on Christopher Columbus. So it was about 3 children, including my daughter, who just had bad feelings about what he was teaching about Christopher Columbus. My daughter, she didn't really say anything at first. It was 2 other children that really said, you know, how they thought he was a bad man. And what the teacher went on to do, in my eyes, was to sympathize with Christopher Columbus. He was saying that the Indians attacked the colonists and they got as good as they gave. He went on to say that this was happening everywhere. Colonialism, it wasn't a big deal what happened to the Indians, Native American people. He went on to say that basically the Indians kind of brought it on themselves. So the children were saying, no, you know, how Christopher Columbus was bad. He said that Christopher Columbus wasn't bad. You know, he was just doing what everyone else was doing at that time. But Hitler, Hitler was bad. Now that's a bad guy. And how Hitler went on to try to commit genocide. So that was one thing that they're teaching. Then he went on to teach about slavery. He was saying that slavery was not a big deal. It was happening everywhere. What the United States did was happening everywhere. It wasn't a big deal. It happened in other places throughout the earth.
Yeah.
And basically,
wasn't a big
slavery
deal,
had been happening since the beginning of time. Yeah, so just really belittling what our people had experienced. So I wanted to let people know, really pay
minimizing
attention to
it,
what
right?
their children are learning in school.
Minimizing
Minimizing what we experienced. Exactly. So we have to really pay attention.
Yeah, we
I
do.
went on to challenge him because I disagreed with what he said, and I had a lot of research to back it up, thanks to what you have taught us as a church.
Thank you.
And basically, yeah. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So basically, he started asking me what was my evidence. And I went on to just trying to, because he kind of caught me off guard and I didn't have any books available at the time, but you know, the Most High, he's so good. So I just kind of Googled something real quick because I had sat down at the computer with my daughter.
Okay.
And he knew I couldn't find anything.
Okay, he was asking you what was the evidence for what?
When I was to challenge him about the things he was saying about slavery, I went on to challenge him about that.
All right, I'm gonna give you a quick way to deal with this, right? The next time, when he asks questions like, "Okay, what is your proof?" Right? And instead of you never answer a question with a question, but you know, like what proof do you have that Christopher Columbus discovered America with people already being here? But I'm not going to do that, sir. I'm not going to answer a question with a question. There's people here, right? So who did he discover that for? But hold that question, sir, before you go there. Torah. You know about Torah? Well, in the Torah, Deuteronomy 28 says about a people who would suffer curses and go into slave ships as a curse and would be conquered by their enemies as swift as the eagle flieth. And the eagle, you know, throughout history represents Rome. Is that good for you, sir?
Yeah.
See, I've just dealt with it, right? Now, let me show you something real quick, sister, because you need some ammunition. So when you get an opportunity, go to the end of this particular video, right? And as you can see, I like to go to some of their sources as far as the John Carter Brown Library, where it breaks down Jews and the Americas, right? And then when you go to Jews and Americas, it got geography, tribe of Israel, from intolerance, Jews of America. This is a source that's a reputable source amongst, you know, Jewish people, right? So what I like to do is when it comes to history, I like to go down here where it says Theodore DeBry, right? America Part 5, Frankfurt 1595, where it says Columbus appears in Theodore de Brye's edition because he want proof. He want referable sources, right? Columbus appears in Theodore de Brye's edition derived from the second part of Girolamo Bizzoni's book, Historia del Mondo Nuovo. Efforts by some researchers to establish a secret Jewish heritage for Columbus have remained unproven, but his voyages bear strong Jewish overtones from the identities of some crew members, key conversers in the Spanish court, and the pattern of scientific inquiry that helped make the voyage possible. So, if we're going to talk about Christopher Columbus, we have to go into their origin. Who financed Christopher Columbus? What was their religion? What were their intent? And in these records, it says that there is some connection there, right? So what I would do is I would bring it directly to here. I would bring it to, okay, according to Torah, the Bible tells you that we would go into cargo slave ships, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. There is some speculation that even though he was from Spain, that he could have had some Jewish ties as far as Christopher Columbus. So there's a conflict there. You had some people who were brought over in cargo slave ships who suffered the curses as Israelites. You got another guy selling over on ships to actually find the people that are prophesied as the lost tribes of Israel. So can you clear up that contradiction there for me, sir?
Yes.
Can you clear up that? Because since you want to talk about Christopher Columbus, we need to bring it all out. Since you're teaching my children history here. There's a conflict with this guy selling over a boat, selling over in the ship to help find people to be conquered, right? And you got the people who said that they would go into cargo slave ships, only to be conquered by those who sailed over. Can you straighten out this inconsistency for me, sir? One of these things doesn't belong here.
Yes.
So,
I did not go into. I didn't go into like the Jewish part of it because, for one, I had to kind of type in. I could not speak to him one-on-one because he was in a classroom and it was online.
Sister,
but
listen.
To make a long story short,
sister, I'm gonna tell you, I'm not showing you this so that you can, so you can feel a certain type of way about what you couldn't have done. It's that day is gone. I'm giving you something for the next time you see this guy.
100%. I will definitely, or any other teacher that tries to bring that forth, because
there you go.
She experienced something last year as well, where another history teacher did the same thing, and I was able to shut her down. But what I brought up real quick, he was talking about slavery happened anywhere, and I said not chattel slavery, and I was able to show him that happened here and only here, and it was brought here by Europeans. And I gave him the website where I got it from, and I asked him where was his resources, what was his references, and he couldn't say anything, and he just ended the whole class because he was stuck looking stupid. And the children were supposed to leave the class, but they did not even leave because they wanted to see where this was going to go. So he just shut the class down. But long story short, he ended up having a call with me. Because he told me afterwards that he wanted to speak with me about what happened in the class. He emailed me. We spoke, and he sincerely apologized.
Thank you.
Come to find out, I let him know that I knew he was Jewish because I looked up his last name.
Well, listen, listen, regardless of his religion or whatever the case is, what I like to do is, right, because it doesn't matter who he is or whatever, that's on y'all.
Amen,
between that.
It doesn't.
I'm saying, but this is what I'm saying. I like to get to the history because it seems when it comes to these so-called explorers, they coincidentally seek to hide their religion and their ethnicity conveniently when they teach this history to our people in school.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So all I'm saying is let's get to the bottom of this. And this is what I'll tell them. If you're going to teach Christopher Columbus discovering anything, we need to go into Christopher Columbus' origin and intent first. Let's go into I got the books right here. Ronald Sanders' book, The Lost Tribes in the Promised Land, where it tells us in the dialis, that's right, he used the second Ezra as biblical proof that he would find the children of Israel in America in Christopher Columbus's personal memoirs called the dialis. So, sir, don't ever talk to my children about Christopher Columbus again unless you can actually go into his intent, who sent him, and why. You know, because
when I talked to him on the phone, I did go into a lot of that stuff. That's what I wanted to let you know. When I got a chance to speak with him on the phone, I did. I'm saying, and he apologized.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying though. It's time for parents to get in front of their children. Don't forget, sister, you have the right to tell that child that man what not to teach your child. Say, listen, what you're teaching is conflicting with my upbringing. Keep your Christopher Columbus to yourself. Okay? All due respect.
Yeah.
Teach your child, to honor this man who conquered my people. That's your that's your thing. All right?
Yeah.
Okay, as far as I know, the tribe of Gad and the North American Indians are from the tribe of Gad were here before you got here, sir. All right?
Amen to that.
Okay, great. You have the last word.
It was one more thing I wanted to bring forth, and I don't know if you are aware of this video, but it's a video by Doug and Stacy. I've brought that out to you before, a video that they had. It's called Will You Survive? And in this video, a police officer is pulling over a man, and I know he's a foreigner. I'm not sure where he's from. The man was trying to commit a theft, but this man states that you just don't know that the Russians and the Chinese are here and they have militias here in this country. He goes on to say that America is going to be burned. It's a very short video. It's only like a little over 8 minutes.
And what's the name of it again?
And he goes on to, it's called Will You Survive?
Will You Survive?
It's by Doug and Stacy. They're YouTubers. And at the end, he says, America, it's not even being run by the American government.
Well,
he says Edom is, but another name for Edom is actually running the government and what they have planned for this country.
Okay, well, hey, it falls right into prophecy. And at the end of the day, I can't affirm, can't confirm or deny anything that's being said. All I'm saying is, whatever happens, I know the Most High has a hand in it, and Babylon must fall. And I mean, I don't think that's a revelation to anyone that someone else must be running the country based on what we're witnessing. Right. But
right. Just the fact that it was a video with it and this foreigner is saying it, I just thought that he's just outright saying exactly what you have brought out.
Okay, so in the video, it has the actual person saying it.
Oh yes, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, Will You Survive? What is the channel again?
Doug and Stacy.
Doug and Stacy. All right.
STACY.
All right, I'll look into it and see what they have. All right. And it says, Will You Survive? Okay, I see it. Okay, they look like Amish people?
Yes, he does.
They look Amish. Okay. All right, I'll look at it. I'll check it out. Well, thank you, sister. And hey, sharpen up those. Hey, I'm glad you stood for the truth. You stood, you stood for your child at a time of in time of need when they pushing this garbage history they've placed on our children. And hey,
they are.
Hey, sister, this is why they're looking to dismantle the country at this point. Okay.
I could not have done it if it wasn't what you have taught. And just, again, thank you so much for bringing out truth and educating our people. It's sincerely appreciated.
Well, thank you, sister. All praises be to the Most High. And thank you for standing. And since they cannot utilize us like they used to, they just looking to dismantle the country altogether. And just usually when we figure something out, they pivot. And they're pivoted. Wait, guess what? They can pivot, but they can't hide. They're going to pivot, and they're going to look up. Yeah, hell, fire.
Amen. That man of perdition has been revealed.
He's been revealed. Yes, ma'am. And guess what? Hey, we're going to make sure that fiddle out there, too. Make sure you fiddle when the saints come marching in, sister. Get that one, too, young lady, because we're about to go into our kingdom.
I will.
All right, bless you, sister. Bless you.
Amen. Bless you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bless you. I'll take the rest of the calls this coming Friday on Patreon. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. Sin not. Do not believe what you see, or you may be deceived. All right? If you don't see it, it didn't happen. Okay? If you don't see it, if they're telling you it, but you haven't seen it, it didn't happen. With that, I'm going to say, may the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. Sin not. We will soon see Israel. And keep in mind, tonight, this lesson today, there's a lot of meat in this lesson. Keep in mind, here's the truth. Organized political chaos has been exposed. Have a good night. See you Friday on Patreon. Patreon.com/agathering144. historytimes.org. And let's get this history like I brought out at the end of this lesson. And stay prayed up. We're the children of Israel in the name of Christ. And we are back. That's right. Shalom. Thank you, Other Lord. And you have a great night.
Yes, sir. Shalom. You do the same.
The East is where we're from.
That's right. The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC. Let's try that one more time.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, the highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans, a highest gathering Israel, Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, a highest gathering Israel. Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be, Judah, the Negro, West Indians, Viva the Haitians, Vanessa, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, yeah, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering is